To work or not to work? That is the question. When making big decisions in life, different considerations will take place. One will weigh pros and cons against each other in order to make a decision with the best possible outcome. The same considerations take place when deciding whether to work in an extended working life or retire from working life. We have perceived four different considerations that are apparent in the question of working in an extended working life or to retire from working life. The first consideration is the own health and well-being in relation to physical work environment, mental work environment, and time for recuperation. If these are sound and sufficient in the work situation, and the employee experiences well-being and good health in relation to the physical work environment, the mental work environment, and has sufficient time for recuperation, the employee will feel satisfied in the work situation and be more likely to keep working in an extended working life. However, if the employee thinks their health and well-being will gain from retiring and that they will have a better chance of recuperation as a pensioner, this will have great importance when deciding whether to work in an extended working life or retire from working life. In order to examine considerations to leave working life or keep working until an older age, we have conducted interviews, both with people who have left working life early, before 65 years of age, and those who stay in working life and keep working until after the age of 65 up into their 70s. These quotes come from these interviews. Someone said, "Health is the most important regarding whether you can cope with your work or not." Another person stated, "My health is good because of my work." This person actually had a cancer diagnosis, but experienced that they could cope better with their illness because of their work in order to think about other things and to socialize with customers and clients. They even brought the work documents and made work calls from the hospital in order to focus on something else. This person was above 65 years of age when they got their diagnosis, but kept working and still did not know when they wanted to retire from working life. Another person said, "You can never go through working life and keep your health." This person felt that their health was deteriorating because of their work situation and therefore decided to leave their working life in order to be healthier and have more time for recuperation. The second consideration to work in an extended working life or retire is associated with the personal financial situation. What the personal financial situation looks like with salary from working life affects whether the employee decides to leave working life early or to keep working in an extended working life, depending on if they feel they can afford to retire or if they feel that by working for longer they can afford a higher standard, maybe to travel or to refurbish the house, when they do decide to retire. Others may feel that they can afford to retire, that the pension is sufficient to live on and therefore choose to retire from working life. The following are quotes from interviews with people who have left working life early, before 65 years of age, and those who stay in working life and keep working until after the age of 65 up into their 70s, regarding the second consideration of personal finances. Someone said, "We worked until we could afford retirement and then we retired." Another person changed their career in the middle of their working life and stated that if they had stayed in the occupation they had before their 40s, they would never have been able to work for this long, but since they experienced well-being in their current workplace, they did not know when they would leave working life. At the time of the interview, this person was 72 years of age and said, "Working just for the salary must be terrible. I would never be able to do that." The third consideration when deciding whether to work in an extended working life or to retire early is related to the opportunity of social participation, support, and inclusion in a community. If we feel that we are part of a social community, everything is a bit more fun. If we find this in our working life, where we feel included and receive support from co-workers, managers, clients, customers, etc., we might want to stay in this such social situation, to work, and therefore to work in an extended working life. However, if we find that we do not feel included and a part of the social community at work, but instead have a strong social support from family, friends, in our leisure time, when volunteering, etc., and wish to spend more time in this social community, this may be a reason to leave working life early. The following are quotes regarding the third consideration, which is the possibility of social inclusion and participation in a group, which comes from interviews with people who have left working life early, before 65 years of age, and those who stay in working life and keep working until after the age of 65 and up into their 70s. Someone said, "I put down so much at work, but no one cared or appreciated what I did. I received much more appreciation at the club, the local sports club that is. This person had experienced that they put a lot of effort into their work, thinking about how to make operations run more efficiently, but they never felt they received acknowledgement for these efforts and therefore got tired of it. Instead, they felt they received much more appreciation in their voluntary work at the local sports club and therefore chose to leave working life to be able to put more effort into their voluntary work as a pensioner. Another person had started to hand over their enterprise to their sons and worked alongside and taught them how to run the organization. They described, "Everything runs smoothly and is perfect. We thoroughly enjoy working together, me and my sons." This person stated that they were not sure when to retire, since they actually had started to experience a higher level of well-being and appreciation of their work since the sons had entered the organization. They had even started to work more since the sons had joined, and because of this good social environment, they did not want to retire. We have now reached the fourth consideration to keep working in an extended working life or to leave working life for retirement. This consideration regards the opportunity of meaningful, stimulating tasks, knowledge and developing activities. If an employee experiences their work tasks as meaningful and stimulating, that they can use their competence and knowledge in problem solving, enjoys and feels that work is developing, this will be an incentive to keep working and to stay in working life. However, if an employee experiences their work tasks and activities too repetitive and meaningless, maybe they have executed the same task for 40 years and experienced no development, no way of using their knowledge and competence, etc. If the employee feels that they receive this meaningfulness in their leisure time through stimulating and interesting activities, this will be an incentive to leave working life and to retire. The following are quotes regarding the fourth consideration, the possibility of stimulation and self-realization through meaningful tasks, which comes from interviews with people who have left working life early, before 65 years of age, and those who stay in working life and keep working until after the age of 65, up into their 70s. One person experienced that it was through their work tasks that they experienced self-realization. They did not have any hobbies that they experienced as more meaningful and said, "The problems that occur in a leisure activity or hobby are made up and not real. They cannot replace the satisfaction and meaningfulness that real work provides." Another person stated, "One needs routines and meaningful tasks when leaving working life as well. Otherwise, one will become depressed." This person talked about an acquaintance of theirs who had left working life early. The acquaintance had experienced that they could afford to retire and therefore did. This person had also recently gone through a divorce. After a few months, they realized that they did not have many meaningful activities or things to do with their time. The interviewee described how their acquaintance had started to drink and then realizing that they could not go on in this way. So they had gone back to their former employer, asking if they could help out with smaller tasks and could come back to work for a bit. So after a while, they started volunteering at their old workplace, helping out with bits and pieces, and therefore managed to de-escalate working life instead of leaving full stop, which made them find a better balance and find meaningful activities in their retirement, since they did not feel well entering retirement directly. Research has showed that de-escalating the number of working hours instead of leaving working life from one day to another in order to find routines and meaningful activities in retirement is a good way to go in order to maintain a good health as a pensioner. This was the fourth consideration, the possibility of stimulation and self-realization through meaningful tasks and activities. To summarize, the decision to keep working in an extended working life or to leave working life for retirement is made through these four considerations. What my own health is like in relation to my physical and mental work environment and working hours and work pace, or what my health will presumably be like when leaving working life. What my personal finances are like when working or as a pensioner, what my possibilities of social inclusion and participation in a group are at work or outside working life, what my possibilities of meaningful, stimulating, and self-fulfilling tasks are at work or outside working life. These four considerations are made, more or less consciously, when deciding whether to keep working in an extended working life or to leave working life for retirement. If we return to the Swage model and the part that regards the individual level, we can see that the four different considerations, whether to leave working life or not, correlates with the four determinant spheres of the Swage model. The first consideration correlates to the first sphere of the personal health in relation to work environment circumstances, regarding self-rated health, diagnosis, physical work environment, mental work environment, working hours, and time for recuperation. The second consideration correlates with the second sphere of personal finances. The third consideration correlates to the third sphere of social support and inclusion, both in working life with leadership, social support, disregard, and outside working life with partner, family, friends, etc. The fourth consideration, whether to leave working life or not, correlates to the execution of work tasks, which contains work satisfaction, stimulating activities, self-fulfillment, skills, knowledge, competence, and possibility of development, etc. Consider and reflect on what in your work situation counts for you being able to and wanting to stay in working life. What in your work situation counts for you possibly being able to and wanting to leave working life? What in your co-workers' work situation counts for them being able to and wanting to stay in working life? Now it is time to proceed to Module B, where we will more closely examine personal health in relation to work environmental circumstances, personal finances, social inclusion and participation, as well as self-fulfillment through meaningful activities. Good luck!